Game Informer has already played the story missions for Season 6 Overwatch 2, giving them some pretty strong praise. Although this isn't a full review, they have a lot of good things to say about it, and they explain the pricing model, which I think is surprisingly fair. If you're already an active player of Overwatch 2, you already buy the Battle Pass. It's a small upgrade from there, but probably going to alienate anyone who only wanted to play the story. What's going on, guys? It's Frito here for your Overwatch. We'll get into all that and more right after this quick break. The biggest buff to my personal life in the last few years has been focusing on my health, which is why I'm so excited to shout out today's video sponsor, AG1. Often it can feel complicated to make sure you're getting all the necessary nutrition. AG1 makes it easy because the AG1 formula has 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients. I like it most because it takes the complex combination of supplements I already was taking and puts comprehensive nutrition in one single scoop, making it super easy to fit into my routine. Especially as I started getting older, I realized you got to get ahead of a lot of these health issues because you can physically feel yourself deteriorating. AG1 does some remarkable things. It's going to improve your gut health, boost your energy, support immunity, and improve recovery. I was surprised how it felt like it amplified the things I was already doing. My diet is pretty good. It has benefits to your entire diet. Those benefits add up. Click my link to get a 1-year supply of immune-boosting DK32 and 5 free travel packs. You can't put a price tag on your own health. Try AG1 today. So we know Season 6 will come with 3 story missions. It will have you matchmake with other players. It is co-op. I think the thing Blizzard's really going to struggle to communicate to the player base is the upgrade in gameplay from the normal Overwatch seasonal content thus far. According to Game Informer, it's quite a step up. Game Informer says these missions feature enormous objective-filled maps and in-depth storylines that blow past what we've seen in previous PvE content, often tied to seasonal events. I won't go into depth into the Game Informer detailing the story beats that they walked through. From their explanation of it, it sounds like one of the cinematics was turned into a mission, but there's still more important questions to ask. On the cost, Game Informer says the Overwatch 2 Invasion bundle will cost $15 and will include the 3 story missions, a brand new legendary skin for Sojourn, plus access to Sojourn for new players once you complete the story mission challenges, and $10 worth of Overwatch coins, 1,000 coins, which is enough to purchase a premium battle pass. For $40, you get all of that, plus the Null Sector premium battle pass, 20 battle pass skips, and an additional $10 in Overwatch coins, which you don't really need any of those things. A legendary skin for Cassidy and a legendary skin for Kiriko in Overwatch 2's Ultimate Invasion bundle. So we look at that pricing model. If you already paid for the Overwatch battle pass, this would just be an additional $5 and you get a chunk of a campaign game. From that standpoint, it sounds pretty good. Or you use those coins for other cosmetics, and if you're like a super fan, maybe you go for the bigger bundle and get skins for those characters. On one hand, it's sort of heartbreaking that this pricing model tells you everything you need to know about the audience for this game. It is super alienating for anyone who is not going to play PvP, so much so that the dream that Overwatch will expand its horizons and have different audiences is just not really gonna happen, not in a significant way anyway. But I think instead, if you were a current Overwatch player like me and many of you, if phrased differently, if the order of information came out differently, if we didn't know there was gonna be a whole nother game in the works behind the scenes all these years, content drought, all that, if we didn't know any of that, and then just all of a sudden now they released us this, like, oh, there's an add-on story that will progressively expand the universe. Like if they released this in 2018, we would have been doing backflips, right? It's just all those other expectations dwarf what this actually is. And on top of that, it's impossible for me to ignore the financial structure meddling of this because it's very heavy-handedly trying to point you towards the PvP shop. The battle pass is the taste. The story missions, even if they are good, they're sort of the afterthought to try to sneak you into the shop again. Here's some coins you don't want. Just like a pusher or a dealer, they give you a quick little cheap hit and then open up their coat and say, hey, we got all this other fun stuff that's super cool. What are you buying? Every game is just an arms race to see who can have the most effective predatory monetization. And while in some respects, they're making the battle pass better, fairer, listening to feedback, making positive changes towards that, on the other hand, they come up with new tricks and tactics, like get a free skin if you go look at the shop, or buy the story mission bundle and get coins, which you'll want to go look at the shop to spend. I'm a little bit surprised that the article didn't talk at all about whether the story missions will progress your battle pass, because let's say you are just a story mission player. You do everything but the PvP. So you go play the hero missions, which are like extra challenges for the heroes you like. You play your story missions when they come out. Can you really have a viable route through the battle pass? And my guess is no. Or maybe they just haven't even thought of that. So maybe if you don't want the battle pass, you go spend your 1,000 coins on like a mid-tier skin, or save them up over the course of multiple story drops and get a skin for the character you like, which I assume you can use in the story mission. Again, they always said that you could use your skins and cosmetics across the different modes, but we never know what the rules are when they change them. We thought we knew what the rules were going to be. Like, can I take anything Jeff Kaplan said about the sequel to be a rule when they upend so much of it? I don't really know the answers to this. And while I was very, very upset about the rug pull of this game, based on other information in this article, it's hard to know if the game is worth investing in yet still. Game Informer says Keller wasn't ready to talk about when the next group of story missions will be available, but assures players that the team is working on more story missions and has a grand plan for the future. Additionally, the team aims to be reactive to player feedback on the first missions and adjust accordingly. Overwatch 2 Invasion, aka Season 6 of Overwatch 2, kicks off with the first 3 story missions on August 10th. My point with this is, I really felt that I got behind the business model of Overwatch 2 because they made the PvP a live service game properly. They have done that. We got a new game mode coming out, new heroes like we should have. Balance is very frequent. I mean, we're actually even getting Team Q this season. I never thought that was going to happen. And we know tournaments are down the line. Like, there's a lot of things for PvP players to see a light at the end of the tunnel. So all that felt great. What we didn't know was that they were massively downscaling the ambitions for the 2 side of the game, which makes all of the criticism at the launch of the game seem more justified. And anyone who defended Overwatch 2, including myself, even Asmongold has talked a lot about this. We all look like idiots because we put faith in Blizzard to say, no, they're working hard on this. Yeah, of course. Toss a Watchpoint pack their way. And they pumped up the numbers of those Watchpoint packs and all this. And yeah, they didn't include PvE in there. They didn't say you were paying for it, but it is a rug pull because you thought you were investing in a bigger, grander vision towards the future. They said PvE is coming, wink, wink. They didn't say a massively downgraded PvE is coming. Now, what we will get seems properly priced, to me anyway. I think it's quite clever and maybe a little sneaky of them to kind of tack on the extra game, weaving into the PvP monetization. It's like one in the same. There's no way to escape it with the pricing model. But the biggest, the most robust addition to Overwatch 2 thus far has been the monetization, for good and for worse. So for the player base, it's obnoxious, but for the dev team and the longevity of the game, they are going to be certain every step of the way that they are bringing in enough money to be able to fund continuous development. The problem is, us as the player base, we just got the biggest rug pull of all time in almost any game right in front of us. So we don't know if like this story mission gets terrible feedback, will they lose resources on it? And then all of a sudden now, like the end of Game of Thrones, they just cobble together a rush job and break all the rules they had before. And well, we know how that ended. Yes, I'm still mad about that too. On one hand, being able to react to feedback sounds like a good thing, but on the other hand, they still reserve the right to change the rules whenever they want, which has been my biggest criticism of Overwatch this entire time. They changed the rules to say, oh, our live service, we're allowed to shut that off and not develop new stuff for it for years. That's just an okay thing for them to do. Oh wait, we've got this 2 thing. Now it's out. Don't worry, guys. We're all on the right track. Actually, about 75% of it is different from what we told you it was. These harsh left turns are giving me whiplash. Aaron Keller in the article says Season 6 is definitely bigger. We don't want to save up content and save it for these giant releases years down the line. That's what a box release would be for a game, because we always want to be supporting the live game. But at the same time, there was this really big release coming up for Season 6. And so this is the culmination of us working on a lot of things that for years prior, we have been saving up, us recognizing that we don't want to always be saving content like that. And I think this is the team trying to get to a point where we start shifting the live service portion of the game away from just being about heroes and map releases. We do want there to be more to an Overwatch season than those 2 components as the biggest part of the season. That's what the story missions are for, Season 6, and we have plans for other seasons in future that aren't necessarily around story missions. They can be around other parts of the game. We've got 2 pretty long months to wait for Season 6 to launch. It feels awkward, of course, to be hyping up the next season when a new season starting today. You can check out all the updates for the heroes as well as their plans for Season 5, which for dedicated PvP players seems good and interesting, to be honest, if there's any of you left after hearing all this bad news. If you enjoyed this video, video, please be sure to leave it a like, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to actually get notified when our videos come out. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. We'll see you guys next time.